first of all, I would like to thank Danielle, who's here with me tonight. She has been my savior and my technical assistant, getting everything set up. So I really appreciate you, Danielle. Thank you very much. Thank you to Sonona and Karen for doing all the emails, sending out the links. I can't tell you how grateful I am for all of your help. And I really appreciate the time that you've put in and helping me get this presentation together. And thank you to Janice, my boss. Thank you for the support and the technical assistance as well. So thank you, ladies. I have a really great team and a great support. So thank you. All right, folks, let's get started. So tonight, today's topics, we're going to start with the story of Narcissus and how the name and narcissism came to be. We'll talk a little bit about terminology, words that might pop up when you're speaking about narcissists and narcissism. We have some stats and facts on narcissism, personality traits of narcissists and narcissist personality disorder. Then we're going into the types of narcissists. So tonight we have 3 types. There are a few more, but these are the 3 main types that we will discuss this evening. This is a good one. How to spot a narcissist. What are the signs? What do we look out for? So that is a hot tip on how to spot a narcissist. The next, we're going to talk about how narcissists affect you as a person, how they affect your mental health, physical health, and how it all comes together. The next topic is how to recover from a relationship with a narcissist. And I've compiled some resources. So if you or anyone you know is in an abusive relationship, please reach out. And I have some of those resources there. We can also send you a copy of those resources if you would like. All right. Oh, yes. And feel free, of course, to get up, move around, get a coffee, tea, water, whatever floats your boat. Okay, the story of Narcissus. So, according to Greek mythology, Narcissus was the beautiful, most handsome boy in the village. He was the son of a nymph and a river god, and he was admired by the, I don't know, Greek village people, the Greek mythology village people, and all the women nymphs had high admiration for him. But Narcissus rejected all of the admiration, all of the advances, especially from one particular nymph named Echo. So this pattern continued. He's like, I don't want anything to do. I'm way too superior for any of you nymphs. So the goddess Nemesis punished Narcissus for his behavior. She made Narcissus go to look at his reflection in the pond, and that was his punishment. He was there for days. And what happened? He fell in love with his reflection. So, as the narcissist, they're not necessarily in love with themselves, they're in love with their reflection. So in a psychological aspect, it wasn't until the late 1800s that the term narcissistic or narcissism really came into play in terms of psychology. So, but it's always been around. It's been around for quite a while. So that's the story of Narcissus. Some narcissistic terminology. The narcissistic supply, you'll hear that quite often. So what that is how the narcissist fuels their ego, how they feel better about themselves. It's that constant need for attention. So, and we'll get into what type of attention and how they fuel themselves, how they ignite and fill up that narcissistic supply. Another terminology that is quite common is the false self. So as a narcissist, they had either traumatic events that had happened in their lives, or perhaps, different adverse childhood experiences, that sort of thing. And perhaps that gave them shame. They feel embarrassed. They actually have that low self-worth, but they are not going to let anybody see that shame. They're not going to let anybody see that low confidence or that inadequacy. Therefore, they put on this mask. This mask is the false self. And the mask turns into their reality. They don't see anything else around them. They see their superiority. They don't see the reality of others. Their reality is the only reality that matters. All right, everyone, have a little sip. Stats and facts. Number one hot tip, number one fact, you'll never win with a narcissist. It's their way or the highway. You can pour all your energy in. You can fight with them. You can try to please them. You can use every little last bit of your energy, and you'll never win. There's part of an acceptance of, okay, I know I won't win. My energy's sacred. My energy's precious. I will conserve my energy. You'll never win with a narcissist. Let's continue on to our next stats and facts. So where does narcissism come from? Where does it originate? I know we talked about the Greek mythology, but in terms of here now, it can stem from childhood trauma, from learned behavior. So perhaps one parent is a narcissist and that child sees the abuse that's happening. Maybe they don't know it's abuse, but they see the fighting, they see how one parent is upset or, feeling down or, but as a child, you don't really understand what's going on. But for that child, it's normal. So that's learned behavior. That's what they see growing up. So they think that's normal. That must be okay. So that's kind of how a narcissist comes to be. And narcissism can appear in late adolescence into early childhood. So that's when the signs of the personality traits appear. And that's not to say that all children become narcissists if there's a parent. There's lots of people that acknowledge that a parent was a narcissist and they decide to go the other way. So that's not to say that it's one way or the other. So there's lots and lots of options for direction when you have a narcissistic or two narcissistic parents or primary caregivers. So a really important fact is the narcissist is the most abusive to their family. So intimate partners, children, everything that's going on behind closed doors, they are the most abusive to their immediate family. So on the outside, the narcissist wants everyone to think, oh my goodness, look at my beautiful family, look what I have, really showing off, giving, being very kind to people. But behind closed doors, it's a different story, a very different story. So the emotional and psychological abuse begins at a very early stages in a relationship. And so actually, when I'm talking about relationships, it can be intimate partners, it can be friendships, parent, child, business partners, can be really anybody in your life that you're close to. So that relationship can be quite broad. So a little statistic here, and this statistic has been fairly stable over the years. 1 to 6.2% of the population are actually diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. So that's NPD. So what's tricky about this is that so many narcissists don't believe they have a problem. They don't need help. Why would they dare have an assessment done? Why would they go see a therapist? So some of those statistics and studies are quite ambiguous, and it's hard to get some really concrete statistics sometimes. So, and the narcissists that do come to therapy, they'll last for a couple of sessions and then they'll start to blame the therapist, or they'll feel that they're superior to the therapist, et cetera, et cetera. So that's that pattern of superiority, and it's in every aspect of their lives. Oh, yes, I forget the little bees get bigger. Our special effects for the night. Okay, folks, let's get into some nitty-gritty of the personality traits of a narcissist. So, Dr. Ramani, who is an amazing, she has a really fabulous YouTube channel on narcissism, and she has a really great book. I have it here. I'll show you the book. So the book is called Don't You Know Who I Am? You can have a look at that. And in the chat, Danielle is going to put up her YouTube channel. There's some really great hot tips there. Really fabulous. So this is her breakdown of some of the personality traits that you'll find in a narcissistic person or narcissistic personality disorder. So the first one, interpersonal traits. So all narcissists lack empathy. Number one, first and foremost, they lack empathy. They have poor boundaries. They have poor boundaries for themselves, but they don't respect anyone else's boundaries. They plow through anyone's boundaries. Narcissists are controlling, they're jealous, they project their issues onto their partners and those around them, and they don't take responsibility for their words, their actions. So that's that projection onto others. Narcissists are very good at manipulation. It's one of their key skills is manipulation. And they're so skilled at it that at times you don't even, well, most times you don't even know what's happening. It's a slow, slow process. And we'll get into that a little later. So some of their behavioral traits are superficial, envious, envious of others, because they want to be number one. So if they're threatened by someone who's more talented than they are, or have more money, or have a more beautiful partner, they get very envious, very jealous. They're careless, only thinking of themselves, exhibitionists, showing off their goods, showing what they have. Look at what I have. Some of the emotional dysregulation that they have are anger and rage. They're so quick to turn, they're easily provoked. They're actually very fragile and insecure. As I mentioned before, when we were talking about the false self and the mask, they have a lot of shame, a lot of shame. And they're always seeking validation from exterior people, exterior um, folks. They have a low emotional development as well. So they're also entitled, and these ones are perhaps more well known. The entitlement, that grandiose feeling of being superior, being number one. They're actually very passive aggressive, and the arrogance, of course. They're oppositional, very defensive. And like I said earlier, it's their way or the highway. You're out of there. If they don't like what you say, then a fight will happen, or they will be very disrespectful. And that's that abuse, that cycle of abuse that starts there. They're also very vindictive. They're smart. They know what they're doing in a sense. So they can be very vindictive. So cognitive traits are they're paranoid, they're hypersensitive. Of course, they're hypersensitive in the sense that if you say something to them, they'll snap. You can't say a word, you can't make any gestures that might be offensive. They're very, very hypersensitive. They lack insight. They're hypocritical of others, but they're also hypocritical of themselves in a way. And it goes back to that reflection as opposed to the love that they have for themselves. So they're lacking that self-love and can be very hypercritical. Sorry, not hypocritical, hypercritical of themselves. They also have a extremely skewed view of reality. It's their reality is the only reality, and and that's where it stops, really. So these are some other personality traits that are not broken down by Dr. Ramani, but they're also quite important to consider and have a look at. So it's quite common for narcissists to suffer from depression, have symptoms of depression, anxiety, substance abuse, substance use. Of course, they all have that need for admiration to fuel that narcissistic supply. So all of these traits that we've mentioned are fueling that narcissistic supply. It's really, they're really, that's how they get themselves revved up. So intimate relationships are always self-serving, shallow, very superficial. They want to look the best. They want to have the most gorgeous partner, a Barbie doll, a Ken doll. They want to be seen as the most revered couple walking around. Um, when narcissists are provoked, and it doesn't take very much, narcissists can become very aggressive and violent. And so that's where the intimate partner violence is really important to watch for and look out for, because the intimate partner violence is very, very important and critical to be aware of. So again, if you or anyone you feel that is in an abusive relationship, reach out. You can reach out to us, any of the therapists here, and we can point you in the right direction for some help. So that it's really important. As mentioned, narcissists have thin-skinned, very thin-skinned. They're transient their social relationships are very transient. So what usually happens, they'll make a friend, they'll lure them in, give them things, comment, etc., etc. And then after a while, they decide, "Hmm, this person's not great." Or maybe that person is more talented than the narcissist, or that person has a fancier car, or a fancier boat, or a more beautiful partner. So the narcissist is like, this friend's out of here. And the narcissist kicks him out of his life. But the narcissist blames the friend. The friend is the problem. The friend is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's not the narcissist. So that is one of the patterns in social relationships and friendships as well. Narcissists are very greedy. They're greedy. They want that attention. They need to fuel that ego. And they initiate fights really easily. And by initiating fights, it gives them the opportunity to put you down, to disrespect you, to make you feel worthless. And that is really part of why they initiate fights. Okay. How's everyone? I know I can't see everyone, but I just want to check in with everyone. How's everyone doing? If you need a break or a little sip of water, feel free. Our receptionist, Karen, has this great mug here. That's handy dandy. All right. Let's get into the types of narcissists. So the grandiose narcissist is the most common, the classic narcissist. Um, they lack, as I mentioned before, they lack empathy. They're pompous. They're entitled. They have that need for admiration. They're very controlling. Again, don't take responsibility for any of their words, behaviors. They don't take any responsibility for anything they do or say. They degrade and they humiliate others. They're very passive aggressive. And that's the gaslighting or telling lies is also a really important trait to note about narcissists. So, and all of that starts very early on in those relationships, very early on. So we have a picture of Narcissus himself there looking into the pond, into his reflection. So speaking of pictures, um, when I was doing this PowerPoint and I typed in narcissist to, see what photos came up, that sort of thing. And ironically, many photos of a current world leader south of the border came up as soon as I typed in narcissist or narcissism. So I'm sure you can all kind of guess where I'm going with that. So I just thought that was quite appropriate considering what's happening these days. So that particular leader is a great example of a malignant narcissist. The malignant narcissist has all the same traits as a grandiose narcissist, but on a higher level, just like 20 million times uh, more exaggerated. So they seek to dominate others, that domination, they live for that. All narcissists lack remorse, but the malignant narcissist has zero remorse. Absolutely none. Again, very greedy, wanting everything for themselves, very, very greedy. exploits others to a larger degree than a grandiose narcissist. So, with that particular world leader I mentioned, you can kind of see some of those patterns with him. So, that's the malignant narcissist. And I thought the peacock, very was appropriate. Okay, the next type of narcissist is, so there's a couple of names. There's the covert, inverted, or vulnerable narcissist. So this type of narcissist can be a little trickier to identify, um, simply because they have a lot of the same traits as a grandiose narcissist, but they display them in a way that's more subtle. So in the beginning, you're like, "Hmm, that kind of seems like a narcissist, but maybe not really." So yeah, their actions and words are more subtle. They have more of a victim mentality. So that victim mentality is still getting the attention. They're still bringing that attention to them, but they're saying, okay, I'm a victim. I'm this, I'm that. I don't deserve this. But it's their way of getting attention. So, an interesting point is that they actually crave to be or desire to be in a relationship with a narcissist. So, in a sense, their narcissists are working together or playing off each other, however you want to see it. So that's quite an interesting point. Um, yeah, they feed off each other's ego and they fuel each other's narcissistic supply. Um, yes, so they may appear shy, kind of demure, but still have those grandiose ideas, still have that sense of entitlement, that sense, that very pompous importance, um, but they come across as shy. So it is tricky that the vulnerable narcissist can be quite tricky to identify sometimes. Um, so they also have those aggressive urges, but they feel guilty when they're aggressive with people. So then that kind of goes into that victim mentality. Um, and they can also be very self-critical, which which creates more of that vulnerable aspect of their personality. Yes, so there we have the three types of narcissists. I was going to say, if anyone has any questions, oh, you can type in the chat. All right, here we go. How do we spot a narcissist? How to spot a narcissist? Narcissists are tricky, tricky, tricky. So they come across, when you first meet them, they come across as very charismatic, very, hey, how's it going? Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so handsome. Very giving, giving lots and lots of compliments. Very charming, very charming. So they're luring you in. You think, oh my goodness, this person is so lovely. They're so thoughtful. Um, yeah, cool. Maybe I want to hang out with this person. So this is the beginning of the grooming process, in a sense. They make you feel so important. They make you feel loved. So that's their, um, again, feeling that narcissistic supply. So they are saying, you're this, you're that, you're fabulous. And you come to them. It's, yes, this is success. This is what I want. I want this attention from that person. The narcissist wants that attention from their new person. So this is the grooming process. So the more you hang out with a narcissist, the gaslighting and the lying starts. Again, very subtle, very slow. And then slowly they start to blame you for things that you didn't do, things that you didn't say, and they don't take any responsibility. It's always your fault. Well, you said this, you did that. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I didn't. I'm sure I didn't. Did I? So you're going through this process. Um, and it can be really confusing. So that's that control. They're starting to control you. The manipulation, the control, that brainwashing gets more intense the closer you become with the narcissist. And it's slow. It's slow, it's methodical, and you don't really know it's happening. Sometimes, I mean, that's not all the time, but a lot of the time because they're so good at it. So that's when that emotional and psychological abuse increases in intensity. So the closer you get to the narcissist, the more intense the abuse gets. And then there's that cycle of abuse. The cycle of abuse, the intimate partner violence. So the cycle of abuse, they lure you in. Things are good. You're feeling good. You feel happy. And then they start with the gaslighting and name calling and controlling behaviors and throwing words back into your face, throwing events back into your face that you never said. And so that goes on for a while. And then you're thinking, oh my gosh, what's happening? So then you start to pull away. The narcissist sees you pulling away. So the narcissist is thinking, okay, they're pulling away. So then they go back into the compliments and the gift giving, so that is the cycle of abuse. And you think, oh, they love me again. Oh, great. Okay. Things are up. Things are looking up. This is good. I'm feeling good. And then the humiliation, the embarrassment, the abuse comes back. So that is the cycle of abuse.
Before you go on, there is a question in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, how do we differentiate between neurodiversity and NPD, particularly in case of partners who were late diagnosed and struggle with interpersonal communication?
Okay, we can talk about that later. Yeah. Thank you for the question. We can talk about that. Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. Thanks. All right. So, what happens to you? What happens to you when the narcissist is in your life? So, the narcissist is defensive, of course, as we mentioned. So, any of your ideas, any of your thoughts, choices, the narcissist is not going to be interested in any of that. So, that controlling behavior, they're going to be monitoring your devices, asking who you're out with, calling you all the time, checking on you, checking in on you, even stalking you, wondering where you're going, that controlling behavior of always being on top of you all and your actions. So then you start second guessing yourself. You start second guessing yourself and second guessing your choices. You're thinking, oh my gosh, like I said earlier, I'm sure I didn't say this. I'm 100% sure I didn't do that. But you start second guessing yourself, and that's part of it. And then you get more confused, and then you question your sanity because you swear that this is not what I said. I think these are my friends, that sort of thing. My friends can vouch for me. I didn't do that. I didn't say that, et cetera, et cetera. But they're brainwashing you into thinking that you did. So you're always trying to please the narcissist. You're always trying to help them, but that's at your expense, the expense of your mental health and your physical health. Oh, we have another person joining. Okay. Hi, Nancy. I think let's see. So we have, okay. Welcome. All right. So we're talking about what happens to you when you are um, with a narcissist. So this thought of you're hopeful, you're really hopeful, thinking that maybe something's going to change. You're really there's that little light in you that's like this narcissist, they're going to change. I know. And then slowly the light dims and they're not changing, but you're still putting a lot of energy, a lot of effort. You still try to please them. And then you begin to feel worthless since pretty much everything you say and do isn't validated. And your self-esteem diminishes. And eventually, over time, you lose your sense of self. You lose your sense of self. And so that is more or less the process of what happens when you're with a narcissist. And while you're in it, it's so hard to see. It's so hard to see what's happening because they're so good at that manipulation. They're so good at the control. So if any of this feels relevant to you or, or someone you definitely could be dealing with a narcissist. Absolutely. Okay. So let's lighten the mood a little bit, shall we? So again, if you want to get up, move around, get a sip of water, you can do that. I'm going to take a minute to have a little sip. You want to stretch out. Maybe if you're sitting, maybe everybody can stretch out a little bit. Roll their shoulders around. Feel that movement in your body. Roll your shoulders front. Give yourself a little shake. A little shake, shake. Yeah, good. Great. I know I can't see you or really interact with you, but um, I am curious as to how everyone's doing. So, I'm curious. So just letting you know that I'm thinking of you all, and thanks for sticking with me here. Okay, so we have activity time. The This is a really great strength building activity. So the first part of it can sometimes be a little tricky. So we want to name 3 things that you're grateful for about yourself. So sometimes people will say, I'm grateful for being kind. And then I ask, who are you being kind to? Are you being kind to yourself or are you being kind to someone else? So if it's someone else, it doesn't really count. Or say I'm grateful for being loyal. So then I ask, are you loyal to yourself? Are you grateful for the loyalty you have to yourself? Or is it the loyalty for others? So we're really sticking to 3 things you're grateful for about yourself. So I'll start. I will start. So I do have a couple of examples in there. So my intelligence and yeah, being kind to myself. So I wrote my grateful list down. So I am grateful for my intuition. I am grateful that I can use my intuition, that I'm self-aware. I'm very grateful for my intuition. I'm grateful for my resilience. I'm grateful for my resilience. I'm able to do hard things and get through. And I'm also grateful for my self-care routine. Sometimes I fall off the wagon, we're all human. But I really try and every day take a minute and do 5 minutes of self-care, different ways. And I find that the days that I don't get it in, I don't feel as great. So I'm grateful for my self-care routine. So if you want, you can share in the chat what you're grateful for, but you absolutely don't have to. You don't have to share at all. You can have a little think about it. So I'm going to put a little bit of music on and we'll give it a couple of minutes, like a few minutes. And you can name 3 things you're grateful for about yourself. How's everyone doing with that? Yeah. So take your time, and if you want to continue after the presentation, it's totally up to you. So the next part of the activity is naming 3 things that you're grateful for around you. So again, I have some examples here. The sun on your face, even though it's been quite chilly. So grateful when the sun is out, I guess. Maybe that's more appropriate for the last bout of weather in the last couple of months. So seeing the sun, uh, food on your table, being grateful for abundance, supportive friends are also some really beautiful things to be grateful for. So my grateful list for things that I'm grateful for around me is my family and my friends. I'm so grateful and so blessed to have. Turn this music down a little bit. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the narcissists. I'm even grateful for the narcissists in my family who have taught me so much. I'm grateful for that. Um, I'm grateful for the beautiful air that the Nova Scotia ocean, the salty sea air that we breathe in every day. Yes, it has been a little chilly lately, but I am still grateful for that fresh air that we have access to every day. And I'm also grateful for the beauty around us. And I acknowledge the chaos that's happening in the world right now and everything that is going on. And I know it's really tough. It can be a really tough time for people, especially January and February and everything else that's happening in the world. But I am very grateful for the beauty that is still around me. So take a minute and think of three things that you're grateful for that are around you. Well, I'll pump the music up a little bit here. Oh, where'd everybody go? Okay, we're back. Oh, sorry. Oops. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, these are great. James and Chelsea. Beautiful. Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah, James, I love that. A willingness to continue striving to improve myself. Thank you for sharing. This is great. Crystal, yeah, beautiful. Grateful for your husband and children, grandchildren. That's gorgeous. Oh, yes, the lake in your backyard. Mm, yeah. Yes, Chelsea, your home and the nature around you. Absolutely. Friends. Mm-hmm. Friends that keep us in contact. Yes, Danielle, gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Your connection to nature, support network that helps me learn and grow. And the gardens. Oh, I know the gardens are so gorgeous, aren't they? Flowers and the earth make us really happy. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, beautiful answers. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, are we ready? Ready to move on? That's great. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's a reminder of what we have and the abundance that is really truly in front of us. Yeah. So our next Oh, sorry. Let me get the chat. So hopefully we're feeling a little bit lighter, lighter and brighter. I know it can be a heavy duty um, topic for sure. So I appreciate you all sticking with it and if emotions come up, let those emotions come up. Let whatever comes up, all the emotions are welcome. All of your emotions, feelings, thoughts are welcome when you're listening to these um, and listening and seeing these slides. So all of you, every part of you is welcome here all the time. So, how do we recover from an abusive relationship with a narcissist? So, we seek professional help to rediscover or sometimes even discover your identity. So, perhaps if one of your parent or primary caregiver was a narcissist, you never really knew yourself because that abuse started when you were a child and that's all you knew. You were always walking on eggshells. And that was all very normal. You stuffed down your emotions. You couldn't show who you were. You couldn't show yourself. So maybe it's not rediscovering, it's discovering your identity and your sense of self. Boundary setting. I know boundary setting can be hard. Boundary setting is so important and so, so, so helpful. It really gives you that confidence. And again, you get to reconnect with yourself, stand up for who you are. And yeah, boundary setting is very important in recovery. So excuse me. Engaging in strength building exercises. So the one we just did really helps build up our confidence, helps our self-awareness, helps us to connect to ourselves, connect to our body. Um, and that can be really, really helpful in regaining your power. Like very, very, very important. Acknowledging the loss and grief is a really important part of the healing process as well. So with narcissists, because of that control, a lot of times they prevent you from going out with friends and little by little your friends kind of disappear because that narcissist doesn't want you going out with them. So you lose friendships, you lose people that have been in your life forever because of that controlling behavior. So acknowledging the loss of friendships, acknowledging the loss of relationships. Maybe it's with your parents. Maybe your parents see that you are in a bad relationship and for whatever reason they have to step away. There's lots of different types of relationships that can be lost when you're in a relationship with a narcissist. So allow yourself to acknowledge that grief, allow yourself to acknowledge that loss, and that can be very helpful in your healing. It can be very helpful. Um, I love this one. Raising the resonance or raising the vibration in your body helps with building your confidence back up, feeling that energy, fueling yourself with the energy. So things like singing. Singing is super helpful. It raises that energy in our throats, in our body. Singing is a full body workout. Humming, even humming a tune, like you feel that when you hum. I know everybody's cameras are off, but when you hum, you can feel the vibration in your cheeks and in your throat and in your larynx and that breath that healthy breath that you're taking in. that can really help raise the resonance and the vibrations in your body. Singing, humming, dancing, moving, really getting your body flowing. Dancing is wonderful. You know, putting the radio on, dancing to your favorite tune, stretching, gentle stretching, anything that creates energy. And again, it doesn't have to be a whole event. It can be 5 minutes. It can be a minute of singing. Right now, do you have a song in your head? Is there something, um, is there something or a song or a tune that is in your head right now? Maybe later you could sing it, hum it, listen to it, see how that music helps raise the energy in your body and in your mind. Yeah, so engaging in activities that you enjoy um, can be super, super helpful with healing. So we have another two self-reflection questions. So Danielle has a list of some of the personality traits that we talked about earlier on this evening. So she's going to post, yep, perfecto. So from the personality traits, can you identify a narcissist in your life currently, or has there been a narcissist in your life previously? Sometimes it's hard to identify traits. Um, and so if you are, or if you have been in a relationship or a partnership with a narcissist, how has that affected you, or how is it affecting you if you're currently in a relationship? So yeah, so take a moment, and I can also send these questions to you if you'd like, to have more time. I can send you the personality trait. I can send you all the slides if you'd like, whatever you'd like, whatever feels good for you. But those are like interesting questions because sometimes we don't realize what's going on. Like I said earlier, those narcissists are tricky. They are very, very tricky. And thank you, Danielle, for posting the personality traits. Thank you very much. Yes, again, if I can, you want to, and oh, of course, a screenshot. You can screenshot this slide if you want to think about it later, and I can go back and you can screenshot the 3 things you're grateful for as well if you'd like. Or again, I can send them to you. Okay. So I have some resources here. I wasn't able to put them all the on the on the slide. So mental health mobile crisis here in Nova Scotia. Well, first of all, 911, if you are in a situation that you need help right away, please call 911 or go to your nearest the nearest hospital with an emergency department. Um, don't hesitate, go. The mental health mobile crisis team, so the numbers here. I have a list of women and men's shelters within the province. So at the very bottom here, it's shelters around the province. That gives you shelters for each county, so it's a little more comprehensive. Yeah, sorry, I just couldn't fit them all in. Yeah, so take a moment if you want a screenshot or write them down. Yeah. Okay, folks, so we have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you again for joining me tonight. Oh my gosh, I am so grateful that you are all here tonight. It's been a real pleasure. So I thought this picture of a warm beach is appropriate considering the chilly temperatures that we've had in the last while. So, feel yourself on the beach if you like the beach, feel the warmth. Um, so this is my contact information. You can send me an email. So this is my direct email here at the clinic. It's tracy.reynolds@atclinic.ca. And then the 902-412